Hello and welcome to Talking Good Games. Just finished Bournemouth 2, West Ham United 2, and the Hammers had a 2-0 lead at half-time and threw away all 3 points, threw away 2 points in the second half in that performance. A West Ham of two halves, but also, I think, a Nuno of two halves as well. I'm going to give him credit for the first 45, and I'm going to give him criticism for the second 45, because before the game, if you said to me, point away to Bournemouth, you haven't, I said, absolutely, that's a good result. And I stand by it. It is a good result without the context of the game. But at half-time, if you said a draw at Bournemouth, I said, no chance. 3 points, please. We're 2-0 up. We're managing the game quite well. We can get 3 points here. So when you add the context in, it goes from a good result to an okay result. I'm happy with the point. It's a decent result, but it's not a great one. And I think that's the frustrating thing. It could have been a great result today. We could have got 3 points today, and I think we threw it away. I think we started to throw it away. Well, we'll get on to it. If you're new to Hammers Chat, welcome. Please do subscribe to the channel. Getting closer to 50,000 subscribers. I say getting closer, still like 2,000 off, but it's getting closer, right? But please do subscribe and also drop a like on the video as well by clicking the thumbs up button. We could get 1,000 likes on the video. That would be fantastic. Anyway, the game started with us playing a back three, and I thought it was really scrappy. I think it was scrappy from both teams. I don't think either team was great. The weather wouldn't have helped anything, and you could see that the wind was definitely blowing behind our backs towards Bournemouth in the first half. Goal kicks were having a little bit more distance on them. And I think Bournemouth were possibly the better team. They certainly had more of the ball. They were enjoying the possession, but they weren't really creating anything. Ariola had nothing to do. So for the first, 20 minutes or something, there was nothing much between the teams. And I feel like the game continued in the same pattern, which was Bournemouth would have it, pass it around a little bit, try something, a little dink over the defence or something, and they would go out for a goal kick or go out for a corner. They would take the corner and we'd clear it and we'd do the whole thing again. And it felt like, the first 5 minutes, you were watching it on loop for the next 15 minutes. And then we made it 1-0 with Callum Wilson, a goal out of nowhere and a goal out of nothing really either. A goal kick from Ariola, which travelled nicely thanks to the wind and perhaps forced Senesi to misjudge it. So Senesi went up for it to head it, completely missed it. Callum Wilson. Now, this first touch from Callum Wilson is absolutely fantastic, but it's not just the first touch either. It's the anticipation, because a lot of people would have taken their eye off the ball. They would have seen the defender jump for it. By the time he missed it, it was almost like they've lost half a second. Wilson didn't. Wilson almost knew he was not going to get the ball. You can see him glance at the defender, almost as if say, go on then, you're not going to get that. So Wilson anticipates that ball, anticipates the defender missing it. The first touch is absolutely fantastic. A magnificent first touch with his chest down. The shot, it's okay. It's a half-decent effort, right? The keeper should be comfortably saving that. But Petrovic, I don't know why he is where he is, but he starts running backwards, and you can see him. Once Wilson's chested it down, he's still looking over his shoulder to see where the middle of his goal was. The Bournemouth keeper had no idea where he was. He got himself caught out completely. So he was backtracking. So by the time Wilson hit it, he wasn't ready. Got a hand on it, but it went in the back of the net. So it was a half-decent effort from Callum Wilson at best. But the first touch I thought was class. And just to bring it down and then hit it, that's what I like. That's what I want to see. Great striker play by Callum Wilson. 1-0 West Ham. And then the game continued in the same manner, really. We didn't have any other chances. Bournemouth started to have one or two bits. Krupi had a couple of opportunities, not good chances still, but a header that Ariola had to deal with, a shot that went wide. But we made it 2-0. And if you thought the first goal was good, this one was even better from Callum Wilson. A free kick far out on the side. Potts arrowed it towards Jared Bowen. Scott got a little flick on it. Bowen headed it. Kilman headed it. Todibo headed it. And Callum Wilson brings it down, but just half volleys it on the turn with his weak foot. And it just flies into that far top corner. This is an outstanding finish by Callum Wilson, that second goal. An absolute proper bit of number 9 play. Do you know what I mean? That is a striker's goal. That's a real striker's goal, that from Callum Wilson. He was feeding off scraps for the first half in the handful of minutes he was on for the second half. He didn't really get much service from us today. So it was a case of, can you work with what you got? And he bloody well did. And it was in between the goals as well. It was a lovely little bit of play. Guilherme got it, put out to Juve, and the ball in from Juve was fantastic. And Wilson was in the right spots, and SI judged this one correctly to inflict it out. But it was one of them. You just never know. Wilson would have got his head on it. You'd have fancied him. He was in good form today, Callum Wilson, but 2 wonderful goals for completely different reasons. But the finish for the second one, you couldn't do better. That is what being a striker in the Premier League is all about for me. I don't think there's anyone else in our team that scores that goal. Maybe Jared Bowen, but apart from that, I don't think there's anyone else in our team that scores that goal that Callum Wilson scored. Mwah! Absolutely loved it. So we went in at the break, 2-0 up. I was in dreamland. I was thinking, this is absolutely fantastic. Winning football games is fun, but we were looking comfortable. I thought we were looking all right. Bournemouth were poor, but we were making them poor. And what I will say, well done to Debo. He's going to get a lot of credit from me to Debo. But one thing I've been critical over the last, God knows how many months about West Ham, I think we're too pussies, too many pussies in that West Ham team sometimes. When the tough get going, go and get tough. Yeah, well, that's it. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. Billy Ocean, all that. Well, our lot don't. When the going gets tough, they bugger off. They just disappear, usually, but not today. When Brooks gave Taribo a little tug and then went in on Juve and Taribo ran after him and grabbed him, love that. Put him in the dugout. That's what I want to see. I thought today, and even till the second half, I wasn't happy with it. What I will not suggest is that the players went up for it. I thought the players were up for it. I thought they were battling hard. I thought there was a little bit of grit, a little bit of determination, a little bit of fight. Potts had it in the first half as well with Tyler Adams and Marcus Tavenier when he picked the ball up and he was not taking any crap off them as well. I enjoy stuff like that. I like seeing players with a little bit of about them, but also backing their teammates up. And you don't see it enough at West Ham. I watch other teams where one guy gets fouled and 6 of them swarm over. And I'm thinking, well, can we not have a bit of that at West Ham? So apologies, but I am going to highlight it when I see it because I'm a big fan of it. Yes, you got a booking. Don't care. I'd rather see our players get a yellow card now and again for sticking up for teammates and refusing to be intimidated, because at halftime, they were rattled. Bournemouth were rattled. Lewis Cook was rattled. David Brooks was rattled. Evan Nielsen was not enjoying it. Tavernier was starting to get stressed out. We had them where we wanted them. Physically, mentally, 2-0 up, wonderful. But we just chucked it all away. We threw it all away. The second half, the way we approached it, which was just to park the bus big time. Now, we parked the bus in the first half. This is what I'll say. The first half was parking the bus as far as I'm concerned. But we had a bit of a threat. We had a little bit of direct run-in. We were organised, so on and so forth. It was working. The second half, we got even deeper, though. The midfield got even closer to the defence. And there was just nothing going forward. Nothing at all. Kyle Walker-Peters came on at halftime to go left wing. And then 5 minutes later, 6 minutes later, he took Wilson off for Souček, and everything about it just felt wrong. It just felt wrong. Wilson was shaking his head no, because when Souček was ready to come on, I was thinking, who's he coming on for? It's early. Because if this was like a tactical substitution, why would you not do it at half-time to avoid you using one of your stoppages? So it felt early to be doing it. So I was watching Wilson, and he was moving fine. And then you saw Wilson shaking his head no when he was going off. He looked disappointed. He looked disappointed. He wasn't angry. There was no tantrum. He went over and gave Souček a cuddle and gave Nuno a cuddle and whatever. So there was no outburst from Wilson, but you could see he was frustrated. I was frustrated to see him go off because whilst he wasn't winning much in the air, he was occupying defenders, but also he showed in the first half, you give me a bit of a chance and I can score. And surely if we played the second half correctly, we'd have a few opportunities on the counter-attack, but there was none whatsoever. So Wilson went off, and it just, when he went off and Souček came on, now Souček's been a good story the last couple of games against Burnley and Newcastle. It was fun, right? The very false nine, it was fun. But you can see the significant difference between Callum Wilson, a traditional number 9, Thomas Souček, not a number 9. There's about 15 yards difference between them. Souček's is dropping onto the toes of the midfielders. And maybe that's what Nuno wanted. But my criticism here, by the way, is not towards Thomas Souček at all. He came on to do a role, and he was doing that role to the best of his ability, but it's not a job he can do. This is not Michail Antonio converted into a number 9, and you can kind of see why. That's not it. We've seen Souček come on and score the last couple of goals for us, and it's been good. But he came on, and every time we got the ball and we cleared it, it just flew over Thomas Souček's head, went to a Bournemouth player who had 20 yards between him and a West Ham player, and it just kept coming back, kept coming back. There was no outball whatsoever. There was no relief for the defence whatsoever. The only relief we could get is when we put it out for a throw-in. It was terrible. And he tried to rectify his mistake by bringing BOUWHU on, who looked like he does not want to play for West Ham whatsoever. That was one of the lazy, arsed performances I've seen in a while from BOUWHU. Came on, barely jogged about, a couple of half-nice touches when the ball went to him. But at one point, he got the ball and tried to give it to Potts, got intercepted, and Bournemouth nearly scored off. And you could see Potts saying to BOUWHU, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" He was a hindrance when he came onto the pitch, BOUWHU was. Very disappointing to see that. I accept he wants out, but I thought, well, come on the pitch and show us that you want out. Earn your move. Bloody, the only thing he earned was not getting on against Liverpool next weekend. But anyway, regardless, Bournemouth eventually made it 2-1. Penalty, Max Kilman. I felt a bit sorry for him, okay? But I don't know if this is because I'm aware I'm quite critical of Kilman, so I'm trying to be not harsh, fair, honest, but not harsh. And therefore, am I maybe like reverse it? Like, do you know what I mean? Being too kind on him. But it felt a little bit stupid, clumsy from Kilman. Evan Nielsen, it's good play, a little bit of a dummy. Kilman's flew in to try and block what he thought was going to be a shot, and then there wasn't one. And the minute that happens, Kilman's in trouble. But his hand, I will say this, I'm not even sure it's a completely natural position for a player to be sliding, because it wasn't direct above his head. It was out. His penalty, no problem with it. Tavenier, great pen. Then Areola turned into, I mean, Areola, really, we know he's capable of some big saves, but that save from Krupi was world class. Christie, good ball out to Tavernier, great ball into Krupi, unmarked somehow, just in front of the penalty spot, side puts it in the far corner. The way Areola's moving from, I think it's the right thing to do for him, by the way. I don't think it's a bad decision by Krupi. Sure, he should be scoring, but I think it's an outstanding save from Areola. Then he'd go on to make another few big saves as well, from Unal in particular. But Areola was fantastic from 2-1 up until the full-time whistle went. He was called upon various times and made big save after big save after big save. Possibly the man of the match. I think a lot of people will give Areola man of the match, and maybe because of how good some of those saves were, I think I might do as well. But there's one player in particular I thought was consistently good from start to finish, but maybe just didn't have the X factor moments like Areola had. But if it wasn't for him, we would have got hiding in the second half. Bournemouth would have got 3 points if it wasn't for Areola, because his defence stopped at some point in the second half. And if you put a defence under pressure enough, like Bournemouth did, they are going to buckle. No defence is good enough to keep that going for 90 minutes and not concede. Well, some are, but we are not. We are not one of those. We are not Arsenal. So when Trufair just kept pinging them in from the left, eventually something was going to give. 2-1 Bournemouth. You knew the equaliser was coming. Unal got it. I mean, where's that guy been? He scored that banger against us, that free kick. Not seen him again since. Thought he was dead. But he's risen from the dead, come off the bench and scored against us. Where's that guy been? I watch a lot of football. I don't remember seeing him in between that free kick and that goal today. I don't recall seeing him very much. Good goal. The pass from Senesi is wonderful. It's a great turn. It's just bad communication. You can see Kilman saying to Igor, pick him up, because Evanil's Unal is next to Kilman. You can see Kilman say to Igor, pick him up. Then Kilman moves, so the ball gets put into him, and Igor hasn't picked him up, and Kilman's buggered off. So he's just there in the middle of the two centre-backs, turned, good finish, nothing Areola can do about it, but it's just frustrating. But I think what you're asking is that defence to be perfect for 45 minutes whilst getting battered, because they were. I don't know what their statistics were. I'm quite confident Kilman's, Igor's and Tadebo's statistics will all be quite good in terms of heading, blocks, clearances, interception. I bet you the numbers are looking quite impressive because they had so much to do. They had to be perfect. I don't think Kilman was great today, although there was a lot of defensive moments from him. I think Igor was a little bit ropey, that defend header backwards, but again, there was some good moments from him. I'll be honest with you, at 2-2, I thought we were going to lose. I thought we were going to get beat. I thought we're hanging on for a draw, and we were clinging on for a draw. But I thought a winner for Bournemouth was coming. And do you know what? It would have been deserved in two ways. I think it would have been deserved for Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth fans would have said, yeah, we deserve to win that. And I think it would have been deserved for us as well. I think we almost deserved to throw that away in the second half. We did. We threw away 2 points. We threw the win away. And I don't like that football. I get that's what Nuno does, but it doesn't mean I have to like it. I think if you're going to defend, and again, I'm okay defending. I understand why he's decided to try and protect a 2-0 lead away to Bournemouth. I get it. But always, it's important that you always retain a threat going forward. You always retain the ability to score, especially on the counter-attack. And I don't think we had either of those things. I think you also need to have an outball, whether it's players that are able to dribble. Jared Bourne on a couple of occasions was fantastic in the second half at weaving his way through 3-4 players to win us a free kick. But that's what we were relying on. Bourne taking on 3 or 4 players. That's the only way we were able to get up the pitch in the second half. And that's not good enough, in my opinion. We should have had something so that Bournemouth felt comfortable enough today. Lewis Cook was playing centre-back in the second half, unbothered. The minute that happened, our manager, Nuno in this instance, but whoever it is, the opposition manager should be thinking, hello, get a striker on him immediately. Get a striker next to Lewis Cook and say, you're up against quite a short centre midfielder at centre-back. Get a striker on him for the second half, and that's who we're going to target. Force him into making another substitution to get Cook out of centre-back, or we're going to capitalise on it. He's not the quickest. He's not the tallest. He breezed through the second half, unbothered. There was no one near him. And that's where I'm disappointed. We didn't retain any. We had zero threat in the second half, but we also didn't give our defence the opportunity to just have a breather. Every time they got it, there was one option: boot it and pray. And we kept booting and praying, and eventually it was 2-1 and 2-0. And full-time whistle went. Maybe a draw, you could argue, is fair in the balance of the game. And you know, the first half, Bournemouth went very good. In the second half, they were excellent and we were terrible. But because we'd got a point, I feel relieved. By the time the full-time whistle went, I was glad. So I still feel good. And it's a decent point. I'm still happy. I know someone's going to say, what are you negative about? You thought we'd lose. I did think we'd lose. And I'm positive we've got a point. It's a good point. But you'd be asking me to remove the context of the game. And that's what I cannot do and will not do. I'm allowed to be disappointed and happy. Happy we got the point. Happy some players played well, because some players did play well. But I'm also disappointed by the mentality in the second half. And I'm disappointed to throw away 2 points. That's where I am right now, and that's the summary of my game. But the last player I want to give a mention to, Areola pips it for man of the match. But the last player I'm going to give a mention to, I thought Potts was good before someone points that out. But the player that I thought was good today, consistently good, I thought, was Tadebo. I thought Tadebo had a really good game today. I thought he was actually almost flawless defensively. He's never going to be when you're under that much pressure. But I honestly thought Tadebo had another good game. And that's 3 decent games from him on the bounce. When we signed him, I was quite excited. His time at West Ham, pre-Nuno, he's been crap. He's been unfit. I've been questioning whether or not he actually wanted to be here. whether or not he could actually play for West Ham. Was he capable? But the last 3 performances from him I've been pleased by. But I actually thought he had a really, really good game today. A few tough tackles from him, and yeah, I'm enjoying Todibo at the minute. I'm liking it. A lot of people have said have faith he's a good centre back and stuff like that, and you've had to really dig deep to find that faith in him sometimes with some of his performances, but he's coming good, and I was pleased with what I've seen. What I will say, if anyone's watching that's a Bournemouth fan, I thought Krupi was excellent today. I think Truffert was excellent. I thought Tavenier had a good game, and I thought Adley made a big difference when he came on, and Ryan Christie just moved the ball a little bit quicker as well for them. So I think Iriola really utilised his bench well today. We did not. I think Nuno got it wrong. Now, the options on the bench aren't great. It's not like he has top players to call upon. I think we missed Somerville, and I think we missed Paqueta today. But I don't know. I'm a bit disappointed we didn't win that game. I feel like had the second half, had he put out tactics I was content with, and we finished 2-2, I'd say, do you know what? Unlucky, because he's done everything right. We just didn't have enough to get over the line. But I don't feel like that. I feel like he did quite a few things wrong in the second half. That sub, Souček for Wilson, I think was what ruined it, because after that, when he was bringing Fulkrug on for Fernandes, now I thought Fernandes was quiet in the second half. I thought him and Potts were fading a little bit. I thought they were tiring because they had a lot to do. But that sub of Fulkrug for Fernandes felt like he was trying to rectify his earlier sub, and it meant that Souček went into midfield, and I don't think that helped either. So I think because he got the first sub wrong, I think it meant that like the rest of the game plan, you couldn't reverse it. There wasn't really a sub he could do to fix the problem, and everything would be okay. The only way he could really have done it is if he took Souček back off and put Fulkrug on, which would have been eye-opening, and he was never going to do it. But I think that is the only way he could maybe have got around it and say, sorry, Thomas, I've made a mistake here. You're going to have to come off because I need to get Fulkrug on and get a striker up there. But anyway, we've got a draw. That's good. I'm happy with that. On to Liverpool, who've just got smashed by Nottingham Forest by the sounds of it. So never know. If we can beat Liverpool, then who cares about today? Well, I will. Between now and then, I will care. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. Please get your thoughts into the comments. Oh, before we go, I just want to say thank you to Coddle, saying Bournemouth should have won it. We threw it. Thank you very much for £2 super chat and the support. Thank you to A6 as well, who has hopefully finished his assignment in his uni library, saying Kilman might be the worst £40 million signing ever. Thank you for the support. And thank you to Billy, saying crazy to have confidence in us beating Liverpool. No. Have some. And also says should have scored at least one more, or at least waited until the 70th to 75th minute before parking the bus with a 2-goal lead. Happy with a point away from home. There you go. Thank you very much for your support, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, please do drop a like on the video, subscribe to Hammer's Chat. I'll be live tomorrow, unsure what time yet, just because of everything that's going on. But I will be live at some point with the debrief show, and I look forward to catching up with you all then. Have a good evening. Catch you in a bit.